So you're asking, what exactly is the Litigation Paralegal Career Accelerator? You've probably heard me talk about it on the podcast, maybe on the YouTube channel, or saw it in an email. Well, it's a framework that I developed a while ago when I was outlining the curriculum for the Litigation Paralegal Bootcamp program. Before I tell you what it is, let me tell you why. I developed that framework because 30 years ago, I was there. Where? The place that every new paralegal is at the start of their career. I was a new litigation paralegal who sat at my desk that first day on my new job, excited to be starting my paralegal career, but also terrified because I realized I had no idea what I was doing. I wondered, what exactly am I supposed to be doing right now? They taught me in school how to write a legal research memo using the IRAC method, the IRAC method. They told me about the importance of knowing the rules of civil procedure, and they made me memorize legal terminology and Latin terms, right? We remembered Latin terms. The problem was no one was knocking on my office door asking me to define res ipsa loquitur. The other problem was that the other paralegals didn't have the time to show me what to do either. And the attorney didn't. It's literally like you're on a deserted island talking to a soccer ball named Wilson. Now, remember, this was long before Google and Facebook, although that could be a whole other video or episode, why you shouldn't rely on Google and Facebook groups for answers to your paralegal questions. If you're listening to the podcast or watching this on video, and you were one of the lucky ones who had a great paralegal mentor who shared their wealth of knowledge with you, then you just might be a unicorn. They do exist, not unicorns, but the lucky ones who had a great mentor. Every once in a while, I'll meet a paralegal who says that they had someone take them under their wings and show them everything they needed to know in order to eventually feel like they had a solid grasp on their role as a paralegal. Yay for them. Or every once in a while, I meet a paralegal who says they had an amazing attorney who patiently trained them on everything they needed to know. Okay, if you just spit out your coffee because you laughed out loud at that, I'm sorry. But I have heard it a few times in the last 30 years. Well, anyway, I wasn't one of them, and you probably weren't either. Let me ask you if any of these sound familiar starting out your career. You're a new paralegal, fairly new litigation paralegal, and you thought they were going to train you, but they didn't. They didn't have any on-the-job training program for you. Or your mentor took you to lunch your first day on the job and you haven't seen them since. Or maybe the attorneys don't have the time to explain things to you. Instead, they just tell you you're doing things wrong. It happens. All you have to do is read some posts on social media in some of those paralegal groups. It's sad, and it makes me mad. Let me read you a couple of posts that I did screenshots of just this past week. We're talking fall 2022, not 1992, before we had access to online training programs or virtual meetings. So let me just show you this one. Okay, yes. So this person says, I graduated a few years ago with an associate's for legal assistant. I had a very brief experience at a law firm after graduation. They gave me no training and everything I did was wrong. I asked questions and I asked to be trained, but they wouldn't help me. And they said I didn't know, or I should have known what I was doing. But I didn't, so we parted ways. And another one jumped into this group and asked for some tutoring. I can't remember exactly what the question was. I didn't copy down the question, but she was asking for some tutoring inside the group because she was struggling. She says, I just need help at work with deadlines and understanding some of the basic stuff like that. Paralegals at work don't really want me asking them a lot of questions. Those are just two of the many posts that I'm sure you're seeing too if you're part of those paralegal social media groups. That's why I developed the Accelerator framework to solve that problem. Back when I was first starting out developing courses, I took a course on how to create impactful courses for adults. And the most important thing I took away from that was always solve a problem with your course. I knew immediately the first problem I wanted to solve, and it was for litigation paralegals so that they wouldn't have to spend the first 5 or more years struggling to know what it was they were supposed to be doing on the job. How do you, as a new litigation paralegal, know what to do on your cases without waiting to be told what to do by the attorney? Especially when attorneys aren't known to be the best delegators. And how to have a successful, rewarding career without having to wait the 10 to 15 years that everybody says it takes to get there. If you've been following any of the paralegal boot camps, social media for a while, or listening to the podcast, watching any of the YouTube videos, you know that I'm on a mission to bust that myth. You don't have to put your time in like it's a jail sentence. That's my why I developed the framework that I call the Litigation Paralegal Career Accelerator framework. Okay, so that's the why. Now, what is it? Well, it started as a simple Venn diagram that had what I knew were 3 of the main categories that I wanted to help with: mindset, behaviors, and skills. And then I said, what are the 3 most important areas in each of those 3 categories? And more importantly, what are the 3 in each of those categories that would have the biggest impact on a paralegal's career? It's not like there are only 3 in each category ever that you ever would need to know, or a total of 9. But what are the 3 in each category that are critical if a paralegal wants to change the trajectory of their career and not have to wait a decade or 2 to enjoy a successful career? What if there was a quicker path, a better path? What if it didn't have to take 15 years? What if you could do it in less than half of that time? You can. I absolutely promise you that you can. All right, let's talk about what's in each of those categories. First is mindset. The 3 areas within mindset are: 1, the mindset that you don't have to just put in your time. You can be a rock star paralegal right now, not a decade or 2 from now. 2, that you own your career. The mindset that this is your career and you get to choose how successful of a career you have. And 3, the mindset that you own your cases. You are the project manager of your cases, and you're taking lead on proactively moving these cases forward. In other words, you know what the attorney needs before they know they need it. The next is behaviors. The 3 areas within the behaviors category are: 1, you master time management; 2, you pay attention to detail at a whole new level; and 3, you're proactive. Last but not least, the 3rd main category in that Venn diagram is skills. And the 3 areas inside the skills section are: 1, that you master the discovery phase of litigation; 2, you level up your trial prep skills; and 3, sharpen your technology skills. That's the framework. That's the framework to accelerate your career as a litigation paralegal. And if you're not in litigation, the first 2 categories would apply the same. And for skills, you could substitute the skills that I just mentioned for the top 3 that are in your practice area. The reason I'm using litigation for this specific example is because that's the framework that I use to teach the Litigation Paralegal Bootcamp. And I just opened up enrollment again for it. It's the last time we're opening it for 2022. Enrollment closes on Thursday, October 13th. I'll put a link below for you to learn more about it. But listen, whether or not you join me in that program or you find another training program, just find one, or a bunch of them if that's what it takes to get all of those skills. Don't wait around for someone else to dictate when you're going to learn something, especially when that dictates how successful you can be as a paralegal. I've said this before, but I'm going to repeat it. Focus on your career security, not just your job security. All right. You can find that link at paralegal-bootcamp.com/litigation. Bye for now.